Good afternoon and welcome to Tech Extend Programmer's Paradise Tibco webinar. Kevin, please take it over.
Thank you, Danielle. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kevin Askew, Director of Sales at Tech Extend, and I'd like to welcome everybody today to Tibco webinar, Tibco Patterns, a breakthrough approach to data and record matching. Today's agenda will include a brief introduction on Tech Extend, followed by an intro to the webinar by Victor Rodriguez, BI Practice Manager at Tech Extend. Victor will then turn things over to Kevin Boucher from Tibco for today's webinar. We will end today's session with a questions and answers period and then a summary. Tech Extend, formerly Programmer's Paradise, has been a leading reseller of software systems and services for information technology professionals in the U.S. and Canada since 1982. We are a subsidiary of Wayside Technology Group, listed on the NASDAQ at WSTG. Tech Extend is proud to be a VAR 500 company, ranking number 267 in 2011, recognized as one of North America's leading technology solution providers. We represent an extensive line of solutions from leading publishers of software and tools for virtualization, application and network infrastructure, application lifecycle management, database modeling, and security, as well as all leading hardware manufacturers. Under our ALM worldview, we provide industry-leading tools for your end-to-end development needs, including defining, designing, developing, testing, deploying, and managing. I will now turn things over to Victor Rodriguez for his intro. Victor?
Thanks, Kevin. This is actually not the presentation I wanted to show. I'm actually just muting. All right, my apologies, everybody. We're having a little bit of technical problems. I just wanted to make sure we had the right slideshows presenting. So what I wanted to, thank you, Kevin, for the introduction. What I wanted to kind of introduce today, everybody, is normally, you've probably seen in the past, my focus here has been around data modeling. It's really kind of a core competency around our previous conversations that we've had in the past. What I actually wanted to speak to today is, as data management professionals, which is most of the audience that we have today are dealing with, we're looking at data quality issues. And data quality is fundamental to any data management professional, any concerns of any data management professional. So Tech Extend has become a value-added reseller for the Tibco solution set. So I kind of wanted to introduce everybody to take this opportunity to kind of explain this solution set to everyone. So the agenda for today, first of all, we're going to have a brief overview of the Tibco solution set, which I'm going to present. And then we're going to have Kevin Boucher from Tibco do a presentation going into greater detail around Tibco's data quality tools. Tibco Patterns is really the data quality tool set. And then also seeing that within the context of Tibco's MDM tool, which is the CIM solution. So this first slide actually speaks to this mindset of Tibco's, which is what they consider this 2-second advantage. So this 2-second advantage is really what Tibco stands for. So really what it means is that, this is Vivek's quote, by the way, he's the founder of the company, and speaks to this idea that a little bit of the right information at the right time is actually beforehand is going to give you an advantage above your competitors. That's going to give you a competitive advantage that all the information after the fact is not necessarily going to be able to provide. So you need to have the right information at the right time, and we're living in a world where this real-time solution is what we really need, rather than kind of like an after-the-fact analysis. So what are some examples of this 2-second advantage? So for example, this is a personal experience that I actually recently had, was in losing or I should say in missing a flight that was delayed, and that I actually lost, I actually missed my flight. There was a delay. I'm waiting online trying to get customer assistance, and I don't even know where are my bags, what flight am I going to have to catch. And what I end up getting is, while I'm waiting to kind of get an answer from this, I actually get a text message sent to me with my flight information, with all the information that I need, where I'll need to pick up my bags. Everything is taken care of. So this is giving me a good customer experience, taking a really potentially negative experience and making it positive. Another example of this is one of the largest trucking companies in the United States, or in the world actually, often has these big delays in getting their trucks across the border between Canada, United States, etc. So what they've done is they've actually used the GPS in the truck to get all the paperwork to the correct people before the truck arrives, actually taking advantage of that information to go over the border as quickly as possible, and saving themselves, in some cases, up to an hour in that amount of time. So by doing that, they're actually giving having a strategic advantage against other competitors of theirs, and saving themselves time, saving themselves the time of their drivers, making their processes more efficient, and of course also saving on gas and everything else. And also, like at the last little image here is this idea of, like, potentially this is like an ATM in the maternity ward near the gift shop in a hospital. How do you actually take advantage of that, market correct to the correct audience at the correct time? So what are some realities of this environment that we live in, this 21st century realities? These realities are that we have 5.3 billion mobile phone users in the world. We have approaching 1 billion, or potentially over 1 billion different smartphone users across the globe. This is real-time data that can be harnessed to make our processes, our businesses more efficient. So how do we maximize, how do we actually take the strategic advantage and use this big data to actually leverage it within our current organizations to have more efficient processes? This tidal wave of data needs to be, this is not necessarily an obstacle, this is actually an opportunity, and how do we actually take advantage of that opportunity? So we actually see here is, what the fundamental problem in this environment is. How does, is that we have all these different systems out there. They have, tenuous relationships to each other. We're the only way we can actually know where the data is, with that information, is how does it get from one point, from one application to the next. We don't have a good overall view of how this information is passing back and forth. How do we publish that? How do we maximize the usage of that information across the entire enterprise? So really the part of, the differentiator for Tibco is within the context of the actual I apologize, my slides are messed up given so I apologize for the technical issues we're having here, but just want to speak to these slides in some order. So the first part of it is, actually the secret sauce in Tibco's recipe is right in the name. So Tibco stands for the Information Bus Company. It's really what that Tibco brand stands for. And the Information Bus really becomes the backbone of all of these possible solution sets. So with that information bus in place, we have a central way to actually distribute that information. We can actually have a subscription message bus that we can actually, easily distribute that information across many different types of systems. And then we can actually use that to start to really have a service-oriented architecture platform where we have integrated governance, development, and deployment all in one central location. And then, of course, we're capturing, and then once we've actually laid that groundwork, we have an information bus, we have this SOA implementation, or the methods for applying that SOA implementation. We now have live events that are being, that these processes have been defined and now can be actually analyzed. We can use business intelligence tools to analyze that complexity. We can actually create, flags and have action items based on these complex events that we're actually analyzing. So is a flight delayed? Is my layover less than 15 minutes? Then what is the next action? I can define that, I can regulate that, and I can take control of that, or take advantage of that opportunity. Or a risk, maybe this is, someone's trying to log in multiple times on a certain account. Maybe someone's using the same credit card in very disparate locations, thousands of miles apart. These are potentially, risks that we need to take advantage of as well. If we act now, we can prevent loss as opposed to trying to retroactively take advantage of that or correct those errors. And there's even more. We have the ability of, a business process management. Once we've actually defined this business process, we can actually see the company the way your business users want to see the company, not these little separate silos of cultural differences in technology, but actually these business process level view of your company. So you can really have your company work the way or behave the way your business users want it to behave. So these are all the different components of this overall overview. There's also a social media component, which is a very cool piece of this. But the last thing I wanted to mention, the last slide, or the last piece of this process is, of course, not last and definitely not least, is the master data management component. So how do we make sure that that data is trusted? How do we know that the quality there is good? And, of course, that becomes the backbone to all of these processes. And this is like an overview of the actual different products that represent those platform tools. And what we're going to be focusing primarily on here is going to be talking about Tibco's MDM solution, this collaborative information manager. Before I hand this over to Kevin for the main event, I do want to just point out that one of the nicest things about Tibco, one of the things I really like about Tibco, coming from this idea where oftentimes we see these cultural siloed ideas of the way the company should run, is that we have the ability here of actually I should say that Tibco is a completely tool-agnostic provider of solutions. So you actually have the ability of having a lot of granularity. You don't have to buy this whole entire stack to take advantage of these solutions. You may just have a pain point around one specific integration point. Maybe you just want to implement some of these solutions around your new processes while preserving your old processes. You have that flexibility, and you have a lot of granularity in how you want to purchase these solutions. And the best part about it is that you actually have like a tool-agnostic solution that kind of breaks you away from being locked into a certain, one set of licensed solutions that you need to renew every single year, rather than swapping out one solution set for another, where you're still locked into certain procedures. You actually have this flexibility of letting teams that are mature in a certain process continue to do things the way they're doing now while implementing a solution that is tool agnostic, and then really gives you that agility that is available there. So with that, I do want to hand this over to Kevin. And I just want to introduce Kevin briefly. Kevin is a solution consultant for the MDM tools at Tibco. He's worked in the MDM space for about 3 years, and previously actually worked as a data warehousing consultant. And he's actually currently with Tibco has provided solutions for many different business verticals. So I'm going to hand this over to Kevin. And Kevin, you are available on Kevin's available to speak now, is that correct? Yep. But I'm sorry, we're having just passing this over to Kevin now. And I want to just mention that, Kevin, we may be having some technical difficulties with you advancing the slides. So if you would like to tell me the slide, let me know when you're ready, and I will advance the slides for you.
Okay, let me give it a shot. Okay, well, I did that one, so yeah. Okay. Okay, can everybody hear me?
I think you're good for now.
Okay, all right, great. So what I'm going to do is first go over our Tibco pattern solution, which is for basically data and record matching, and then go into how that ties into our master data management solution, which Tibco Patterns is bundled with. So if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and get started. So Tibco Patterns basically focuses on structured or fielded data, such as products or people, certain business entities. From there, we actually do in-memory and real-time matching and searching. What this allows you to do is actually have faster performance than actually going straight to a database and doing, let's say, SQL queries like other tools do. This is all within your in-memory cache and whatnot. There's basically two products that are somewhat separate but really packaged together within Tibco Patterns. It's the search and the learn. The search is really finding what people are looking for in terms of throughout attributes. So if I enter in a search for Kevin, It could show up maybe in the last name because there was some data issues, or in the city, or whatever it may be, but it will actually come back and find that throughout all those attributes within your system. For the learn, this is actually the part that you're actually setting up rules, or not necessarily rules, sorry, setting up different ways you're going to match records together, setting thresholds, things like that. So this is actually, teaching your system, and the system actually helping you teach itself about actually using and setting up the Tibco patterns. So this enables organizations to connect the dots, per se. So what's becoming increasingly difficult about data? Well, 40 years ago, it was really, all about the relational database management systems and SQL being invented to actually communicate with these systems to actually store data. A lot of the data within an enterprise was internal to your own mainframes, to any of your front-end systems that you would use. But since then, we've actually had a transformation. Now, every organization has thousands of applications. You're getting data from different sources, such as within any customer type of set, you're getting Dun & Bradstreet numbers when you're dealing with companies. And you'll also have a mix of homegrown and purchase systems, because there's been a lot of different purchases of companies. So you'll have different data from another company coming in. You also have the new wave of cloud computing, where you actually wouldn't own any of the hardware and you'd be hosting it somewhere else. Changing demographics, web self-service, and even public forums where people just simply express feelings, and you actually get that data into your system. So with the advent of so much more data being developed, there really needs to be a way to keep that data quality and that matching, and really get that data that you really care about up to the front and more accurate, so that processes within your enterprise can be more accurate. So what do our customers do with Tibco patterns as well as Tibco MDM? Well, first they identify and eliminate duplicate records, get their current data clean. So a lot of times they'll run maybe their data in a batch mode through the Tibco patterns, find how many duplicates they have, and we'll go over an example of that for a customer success story. And then they'll have actually clean data to start with. From there, they'll prevent the addition or creation of new duplicates. So with real-time integration, when you have new records come in through a CRM system or any other type of extract from external parties, you want to keep that data clean. So there's also the ability to, on a real-time basis, keep that data clean, so before you even bring it into your enterprise, it's clean. You want to match and link records across the databases, and this is where, with Tibco patterns and then MDM, you'll be able to actually not only find the matches, but then store the matches and store the original data from your source systems within the master data management tool. So it's really the instantiation of those eliminated duplicate records. And finally, you want to enable users and consumers to find the data. So in terms of searches, whether it be a custom search that you want to build, a search within your front-end applications, or a search within even the Tibco software, you'll be able to find the data records that you need. So what are the innovations? So the first thing, I'll break this down by the Tibco pattern search and the learn. The first thing is how similar are sets of data. So conventional solutions that you might see in the market even right now, SoundX and edit distance, meaning the transpositions, metaphone, different things that'll actually actually take what a user thinks and try to match it up to certain elements that they've already coded in. Well, what Tibco did was not only that, and we can act on the SoundX and metaphone, of course, but we also took a mathematical model that finds the patterns in the system. So when you're actually searching, you're not just searching a first name field. You're searching all of the attributes within the data so that you're able to find matches, because there are instances where data is mismatched in terms of first name, last name, things like that. So that's what Tibco has done, and with that mathematical model, there's actually a few patents on it with data by part graphs and all this stuff. I've actually seen it, and I don't even like to really think about it because there is a lot of mathematical modeling going on actually to do the search in the correct way, and it's really impressive, and we'll actually show you on a demo here in a second. And then for the learn, are the records the same entity? Well, right now with most of the conventional solutions out there, you'll actually have to pre-build matching rule sets. You can even, you'll be able to add weights, but the development time and the accuracy of this is very long, and it takes a long time to get very accurate, especially when you're trying to initially bring up the system. So what Tibco Patterns allows you to do is it'll actually go through your data. It'll identify and learn the human patterns that are present within your data, and then it will make recommendations to actually change the system and weight certain attributes in certain ways, because based on what it's seeing, it'll actually be able to tell you that your last name field is not very unique or whatever it may be. So that mathematical model is also used to actually train the system and actually get your solution out the door a lot faster. And on the right here, you have all the advantages too. You have higher accuracy, no guessing of rules, and just kind of highlighting them. Real time, we have a number of APIs in different languages, Java, C++. So there's a lot of different advantages here to doing it like this rather than having to set up rules such as an SAP or something like that. So here's some examples of the mathematical models that we'd be able to solve using the Tibco pattern. So for the products, you have product numbers such as an A, B, a B, and a W there switched. You'd have letters out of order, words out of order. Fused words, even if you're missing dashes, spaces, even letters, whatever it may be, we'll be able to find that. Split words without the spaces, letters. So these are just a lot of the different things here that the patterns will be able to solve based on, they use indices to actually, it indexes your data in so many different ways so that it will be able to find all these variations through the search and the learn. And here are some of our customers, and you'll see here that there's a lot of different customers from a lot of different verticals. So we have healthcare with Cerner and the health networks at the bottom. We also have government logos. We have health and life sciences. We have several partnerships with, let's say, Deloitte, Northrop Grumman, and of course now TechXtend. So, there's a lot of different verticals that these kind of patterns can be used in, as well as with the MDM tool when it is embedded. And one of the ones I wanted to go over was actually a healthcare example of what we did at California Department of Public Health. So in order to win the project, we actually had to be benchmarked against a few competitors. So they actually brought in another competitor first, and it took them 3 weeks, and they were able to get 79% accuracy. Well, Tibco Patterns came in, and in 1 day simply set up their relational database, tied it to the Tibco Patterns product, and we actually got to 97%. So right there, we won the deal based on the fact that we were able to have that higher accuracy in that short of a time frame. So there was 2 phases that the project undertook. The first was cleaning their actual initial data that they had already gathered from at-risk women that were actually in their prenatal screening program. So they started with 5.5 million records, and we found 2.3 million duplicates. Now, of course, some people had 3 records or whatever it may be, so that actually represented about 1 million unique people, unique women. So that actually dropped down to 4.2 million unique women actually being loaded into their initial load. So that's, over a 20% duplication rate that we found. And so then that was the first stage, was actually getting their current data up to date. Now, second, we automated the match results of any incoming test results. So before patterns, they had about a 65% automated match rate that were actually correct data. And after that, after patterns was implemented with the real-time solutions, we had over a 95+% automated match rate. So the overall results were basically clean data from everything they had collected before, as well as moving forward, preventing problems in terms of not matching up certain women with people that they've already tested, so they were able to actually consolidate everything down. So it was, bottom line, it was better quality care. So this is a good healthcare example for any type of healthcare projects that you might have. And here's a depiction of how that works. So you have the 4 front-end systems going into the patterns matching platform. And from there, before it actually reaches their reference database, which in this case could be, let's say, an MDM solution, then, they actually had correct data. And so then their front-end systems can actually go to this reference database and actually find, accurate matches and correct data so that they're able to get more quality care. So here's a kind of an architectural overview of how Tibco patterns looks within an enterprise. So you'll have many different language or client interfaces. So you'll have at the top, you'll have all those Tibco standards. So BusinessWorks or SIM, which is the MDM, Business Events, Active Matrix, which you'd probably be able to see at some point. And then also you have all the Java, .NET, C, and C++, and Python. So whatever language a enterprise is using, they should be able to easily tie into Tibco patterns because we provide an API that they can program right into from any of their front-end solutions and hit that Tibco patterns search engine. From there on the bottom, you'll see all the different operating systems that are supported. So it's basically all the operating systems that own pretty much 99% of the market, as well as a cloud-based offering. So if they want it hosted elsewhere, we can also do that as well. So there's a lot of different flexibility in terms of what kind of hardware is available to you at any given customer site. The typical deployment, there's multiple instances with multiple tables. So what happens here is you might have different types of elements that you want matched. So it might be persons, and then it might be products, and it might be locations. And we'll actually set up different instances of the Tibco pattern so that you'll be able to actually search for just those specific business entities within the enterprise. This all goes through a TCP/IP communication, and we have a loader syncer for the initial load and the subsequent synchronization. So the syncer will actually be able to see new data that's appeared in your database engine if you bypass the Tibco patterns interface, and it'll actually be able to do the matches as well at that level. As well as, of course, if you go right through the Tibco patterns before you actually add data to the database engine. So it's really simple to install and also simple to actually interact with patterns, whether it be real time or you can do it on a batch basis, let's say every night or whatever you want to do. It's pretty flexible. So what are some of the major matching capabilities? So we have fine-grained control over matching requests. We can do in real time and batch is basically what we're saying. Multiple scoring modes and cutoff modes. So we could set the scoring modes to be as high a threshold as you want. Each attribute can be weighted. And then also going into that, differentially weighting the contributions on the individual fields or what combination of fields are available to you. Sometimes you might not have an address. Sometimes you will have an address. So based on the combination of fields, you know, you'll be able to alter your matching rules for that. You can raise or lower contributions. So if you trust a Social Security number a lot more than you would trust a first name, then you can actually raise that contribution level to the overall score from the Social Security number, you know, a lot higher than, let's say, a first name, which goes into the record weighting. And nested matching components and operators, so all these are built in, so you don't have to actually, you know, do any additional work. You know, all the matching components are there. And finally, of course, the innovative use of mathematics to solve these matching problems, which is really a differentiator rather than using just simple SoundX or any other type of tool out there. The mathematics and the indices and whatnot, they actually are really good at solving these tough matching problems. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a demo real quick. This is actually available to everybody, and I'll actually put it into the chat window so that you'll be able to see that. And maybe you can see my screen now. Can everybody see that?
Not yet.
Okay. I think it's
just
okay,
the green screen right now.
I think it's taken over now.
All right. It looks like we're up now, Kevin.
Okay. Well, I was going to put this into the chat window. I guess I'll do that after. So here we have an actually publicly accessible demo available here. And you'll be able to show this to any clients or anything, and you can play with it yourself. It's actually kind of cool. So we have names, products, companies, foreign asset control, all loaded into you know, this demo. It's pretty cool. So we'll click on names here, and we'll search for names such as I'll misspell some name, Jason Fitzgerald, but I'll completely try to butcher it. And as you see, as I keep typing, it actually automatically refreshes. This is built on interactive HTML. So as you're typing, it actually is going to the Netrix engine, and there's over 1 million random names in here. So you'll actually be able to see that it's going pretty fast in there. So I can enter in something like 200 North Klassen, and you see it finds it based on the address field, or I can enter in 200 So you could see that it went not only from the address, it went to the city. And so you could see that it's basically indexing every single one of these first name, last name, date of birth, and it's actually going across all those indexes to actually find which person I'm looking for. On the left here, you have a score, and it'll rank them by score. And of course, you can also do the threshold, so you can make it as tight as you want, or as not tight as you want. So that's an example of based on rules, you can actually do matching based on this threshold score here. It's out of 1, so it's basically a percentage, so 47.6 or whatever it may be. So 1 million records are here, and you can see that it's acting pretty fast. This is all going over the internet as well. It's not hosted on my machine or anything. You can do products, companies. So if I enter in something like Tibco, you'll see that a bunch of company names came up here. There's over 18 million businesses actually here, so I can enter in Hillview Avenue, and you'll see Tibco is right there where our headquarters is at in Palo Alto. So it's really cool to play with, and when I can, I'll actually paste this into the demo window, and you can just type in whatever you want, and let me know how it goes. So that's really it for a demo on the patterns thing here, and I'll go ahead and stop this, so I'll go back to the slides. And there it is right there. And finally, just a quick summary of what the Tibco patterns does. Basically, it demonstrates a high degree of accuracy. You can play with it there. You'll see that it's going to find things based on what you entered, and it's not going to bring back something totally random based on the scoring. We also support every single entity type, such as products, people, locations, vendors, and 40+ languages. So anything that's really ASCII based, you can actually put right in here. So Spanish, French, German, they can all, basically live within the same database, and you'll be able to search the same way, regardless of language. No rule extraction or development or maintenance needed. So with the Learn, it actually gives you many recommendations, and there's no hard-coded rules such as, if first name and last name are equal, but address is not, not a match or whatever it may be. You don't need to develop those kind of rules. It's all probabilistic, so you won't have to actually, keep developing these hard-coded rules for such as things like deterministic matching. We have fine-grained control over each matching request. So you can do it on a batch basis. You can put it at many different levels. You can automate pretty much everything. You can spit out tasks for people to look at on a real-time basis, the same thing, as well as what comes back in terms of, okay, the highest score available here was 70%. It can log that for you. You can basically have a control over every single part of the matching request. The flexible deployment and integration options. So the deployment can be done in several different ways. You can do it across many different databases and servers, as well as the integration options, where I was talking about the syncer, where you'd actually be able to, let's say every night, be able to sync, certain elements of the elements of the database, and you'll be able to actually see, what's changed, and it'll actually do the matching for you in that case, or you can, integrate directly with the Tibco patterns. And of course, it's highly effective and efficient matching, even when you have the data is full of errors and misplaced attributes, and the search terms are error laden. So these are kind of the high-level summary, and of course, if there's some interest after this call, there can be, a further in-depth demo about the Tibco pattern solution. But I was wondering if there were any questions that you had for me.
Right now, there's not any. Can you please elaborate a bit on the performance side of the matching solution deployed in real-time scenario, i.e., how many requests per second, what is the expected SLA, etc.?
Sure. So those are numbers I can get you from our patterns team. What I'm doing actually is the MDM, which is next, and that's a great question, and I can definitely follow up on that one, if that's okay. I'm sure that should be fine.
Yeah, I think that will be fun. Right now,
okay.
There aren't any other questions at this moment. If anybody does have any questions, please feel free to enter them either in the Q&A or the chat on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation.
Okay. So I'll just go right into the Tibco MDM solution, which is our SIM, or Collaborative Information Manager solution. And so you might be familiar, or you might not be, but what is master data? Well, it's data really representing the high-value business entities within an enterprise. So for a retail company, you might have products and customers and locations and vendors. They might be really the high-value business entities for you. For a healthcare organization, it might be providers and patients and locations. So these are really the the entities within your business that really mean something to you. And this data is used to represent things of importance for transactions or events. Master data really holds, these different things throughout your organization, a 360-degree view of them, regardless of how many sources you have, all in one central location that you can easily access, integrate with, and so on. So what is master data? Well, first, sorry about that. It's reference data. So anything, let's say, that makes up a product, categories or type codes or colors, those would make up reference data. And these rarely change, and these are kind of the building blocks that would then build up to master data. So master data, when you have those categories and type codes and colors, they would actually roll up to a product. And when you have all these together and different ways that these are associated to each other, that's when you have a different product. So we'd actually keep all the products within your organization at the master data level with a product. Now, going a step further, not only we do the reference data, so we can put in different codes, the valid codes, let's say, for a category, the valid codes for a color, the valid codes for a size, and roll them up to a product. We also have conditional master data, and that's where you represent a product, let's say, at a location. So let's say you have a product and it's a shirt, it's a white shirt, and you have 10 different locations within your enterprise. Well, you might only sell that product at 8 of those locations, and then from there, you might be offering that product at a different price at each location. So not only will we have that relationship between that product and that location, but you also have associated with that relationship only, not just the product, you'll actually have a price associated with it at that location. So you'll be able to keep all this type of data all within one, one master data enterprise. And so you'll be able to, so the big thing here is actually that conditional master data is really where a lot of the value is won in terms of being able to really customize all these business entities actually interacting with each other. From there, on top of this, you'll have transactional data. So when people make purchases of that product at certain locations, you'll have a transactional record created. Well, now with the reference data, the master data, and the conditional master data all more accurate, then you'll actually have more accurate transactional data, because now you'll be able to see, hey, I don't have the wrong code for this product at a certain location as opposed to another location. I have the correct code. So now I'll be able to see more accurately how many of these shirts did I sell, how many of these pants did I sell, where were the most sales at, what region, all those kind of things can actually be now reported on. So this is really our view of data within the enterprise, and how we at the MDM level at Tibco really play in the first three to actually enable the transactional data and the reporting to be more accurate. So, and this is an example of what transactions are comprised of oftentimes. So here you have a retail point of sale record, and this is what it would look like when it's recorded in the database, and it could go to the data warehouse or whatever it may be. So you'll have elements of the product, what the product was, how much it was, the location it was sold at, the employee who sold it, and the customer. And the same thing can be said for the receiving record if you're doing a shipment or whatever it may be. So these are different elements that would be recorded when you actually do these type of sales. So here we actually have breaking down some different data problems that you'll actually see sometimes in organizations, and it happens a lot more than you would think. So here you have a same item, but it's different description, and it's also a different stock keeping unit. So oftentimes you'll have a product number, and then you'll also have a stock keeping unit, which is a different maybe version of that same product. So here they're actually selling the same exact product, but the SKU and the descriptions are different. So this could affect your reporting. You also have the same item and say, but with different descriptions, same SKU. So in this case, with the iPod Touch, you also have this problem happening. You also have the same employee ID, but at a different location. Now, is this accurate? It could be. It might not be. But with master data, you'll be able to know for sure if this is accurate. So different codes within your system. So pay type, cash. Now, if you're doing certain reports and you want to see how many customers are using credit cards, how many are using your loyalty cards, whatever it may be, if you don't have your codes correct, you're either going to have to really build out something to catch all these codes, in the reporting end, or you can stop it before it happens with master data. Not only would you be able to, you can use something like Tibco patterns, as well as only allowing certain valid codes to be brought in, which the master data does as well. It not only holds data, but it also holds validations for your data. So this would be an example of how you could do that as well. Email, are these the same customer? Now, you'll also be able to, within the solution, let's say, keep customers, so you'll be able to cross-sell and upsell, which a lot of customers do with the Tibco MDM product. So they'll hold the products locations, then they'll take this customer data, and they'll actually be able to, let's say, at a customer service level, when you call in for, let's say, your iPhone is broken, and it's the company's fault. So they'll be able to fix it, and you're really irate. Well, they also see that you bought an iPod Touch too. So the customer service representative could say, hey, because they know the fact that we have so many different products already sold, or we have an overstock of iPod Touch cases, let's go ahead and give this customer an iPod Touch. So right there, you're tying a customer to any products he's bought, and then rolling that into something to keep the customer happy so that they don't leave. So that's different ways you can use the customer data integrated with your product and your other type of data. And so here you have the same vendor, different IDs, and these are just different examples of what really could go wrong within your data, and this is being shown at the transactional data level. So now I want to get into the actual solution architecture. So here you actually have at the front what most organizations look like with the composite applications, your CRM systems. So this is what maybe your system looks like now. Now at the bottom here, you can have the orchestration. So something like Tibco BusinessWorks or complex event processing, whatever it may be, that are actually doing the processing from your front-end applications. They usually communicate with ESB of some sort. Now in this case, we also have the Tibco ESB, and all of your different sources are on board with this ESB, so they can all communicate with each other. Now where Tibco MDM comes in is it could sit right on that ESB, and we have different integration elements up here. So you have the web services, the integration engine. Those will actually communicate, whether it be with Tibco products or other products, because our web services communicate, our web services integration communicate with web services, Java, and .NET, so you can actually communicate those standards. You'll also have analytics that you can see a snapshot of your MDM, sitting on top of that MDM application, as well as a UI that you can administer. You can change certain elements within the MDM, as well as view data within the MDM. From there, similar to how the Tibco patterns works with the in-memory processing, where we use cache, we also have a distributed cache that's tied right to the Tibco MDM solution. So most vendors actually simply use the database cache to actually do the processing, whereas with the distributed cache, we also have that living within the product, so we can do all the processing in memory rather than having to go to the database and maybe even use their cache or even go to the hard disk within the database. From there, that kind of helps with our processing. Now we have rules, processes, and data quality. So rules would be something like if I had a product and product should always be, let's say, 5 digits long. Well, I could put a rule in that says, okay, products need to be 5 digits long and the first 2 characters need to be actually alphabetic and the last 3 need to be numeric. So I could put these types of rules in, and whenever I'm integrating with the system and adding a record, or I'm adding a record through the Tibco MDM UI, I can actually instantiate these rules so that they're enforced and nothing actually will get into the system unless they pass these rules. So that's a differentiator as well. Most of the MDM solutions don't have this aspect of actually preventing data from coming in. Usually what they'll do is they'll take it in and passively process it, and then you'll actually be able to see the fact that it probably shouldn't be in there, and then they'll do some other type of notification or whatnot. We'll actually just stop it from coming in, right away. And of course, we can operate in that passive mode as well. Processes. So when you're bringing on a new product, a lot of times what you'll need is maybe say the marketers need to actually edit, and add their marketing description. Manufacturing might need to, add certain elements of, what the shipment quantity is or whatever it may be. So when you actually introduce a new product, you can actually branch this off for approval from different users within the system, and those users are brought in by the security aspect. So we could tie in to any single sign-on, LDAP, Microsoft Active Directory. So any of those groups that you've already created, they'll actually be here. And so what you do with the processes is actually assign those different, assign a record for marketing group to actually update, and then the manufacturing group to update. So everybody can see this, and the record introduction process can be, automated. So you could set many different processes in terms of actually bringing on data to the MDM solution, as well as, outward to your whole enterprise. And that leads me into the security. So not only will you have groups that can be actually imported from Active Directory or LDAP, you can also, on an attribute level, on a repository level, actually be able to limit, what you can do. You can read, you can write, you can't even see this. So whatever it may be, that security level can also be defined within the MDM solution. Data quality. So we also have we OEM our Trillium product, and Trillium actually will do address validation. It can standardize. So you can actually, do calls with this through the MDM application to actually do your data quality, as well as the matching with the Tibco patterns. If you see there on the right, the Tibco patterns is also embedded within the MDM application. And of course, the meat of everything is the master data repository. So so you'll have the location of the customers and all the relationships that would exist between those. They would also exist there as well. And finally, we have the event log. So everything that we do is an event within the system. So everything can be tracked, and whatever level you want it to be, whether it be verbose or just an information level or an error level. And it can also, log who did it, when did they do it, and so on and so forth. So, you'll also have the security of knowing who did what to your data as well within the MDM application. And we're almost done. So we also designed this through a graphical tool rather than having to do any command line interface or anything like that through our Tibco MDM Studio. So that data model, customer can have, 20 different attributes, a first name, last name, whatever it may be, that can be designed, as well as any other repositories, and then the relationship between those repositories are also designed within that data model. The rules, so you can actually graphically do the rules, so if then or any other kind of constraints that you need to have, they're actually also designed within that MDM solution. And it's really easy. It's drag and drop. So you can, on a product ID, you basically drag and drop the fact that, 5 digits should only, be within a product ID or whatever it may be. Then you have processes. So those processes in terms of assigning to the marketing group, and then the manufacturing group, or if you have matches and you want somebody to review the matches, you can actually assign them through these processes, and they're easily created within the Tibco MDM studio. Finally, the mapping. So anytime you're bringing in new data, let's say from a batch load, and typically our customers will, on an initial basis, load everything in a batch mode. You can actually, map, their field 1 should be your first name. So you can map all those things within the MDM studio, and that's also drag and drop. It's really easy to use. And finally, web services. So now we also have the web services that come out of the box, but the web services can also be dynamically created based on whatever attributes you have within, let's say, customer or account or product service. They can actually be dynamically built, and you can actually import that WAR file or whatever to your or the WSDL, to your systems, and you can actually code right to those the custom MDM application. So it's really easy to use the web services, and you can do everything with the out-of-the-box one, or you can custom build the one based on your MDM solution. And we provide both CDI and PIM, actually. So we started in PIM, and since then we've also done CDI, and what we really specialize in is the multi-data domain. So not only can we hold the products and do the product introduction model through the Tibco MDM application, which is where, of course, we started, and that's really our big thing, but the multi-data domain, so we can tie customers to those products. And we also do CDI solutions as well. So hopefully that answers your question. And so, of course, also, and I'm almost done here, we have templates that you can actually bring out of the box that will have all of these things already built. So one example of that would be the GDSN network, where you would actually, so let's say Coca-Cola and Walmart, for example. Now, Coca-Cola is a retailer that will actually sell Coke products at Walmart. Well, both of these are on the GDSN network. So what they do is they communicate to each other through standards. Coke is going to ship how many bottles or how many pallets or whatever it may be to Walmart or to a location of Walmart. And so these kind of communications are actually done on this GDSN network. So what happens there is there's a lot of different validations and rules in terms of the products when you bring them out of the box. So a product needs to be like 8 digits for GDSN. All those rules are actually already pre-built. Any of the data model, the rules specifically, they're already pre-built, so you know what attributes need to be communicated on this network. So right out of the box, you're already 80% of the way there if you're a retailer like that. So it's really easy to actually build them out with different templates that are specialized for different verticals. And so those templates go into MDM Studio, and then those are deployed to the MDM application, and you're ready to go. So that's really all I have to present today at a high level. And of course, if there's some interest, we can, do some more in depth on either one of these solutions. But I wanted to know if you had any questions on the Tibco MDM product, as well as even the Tibco Patterns product.
Okay, and we are running out of time, so if anybody does have any questions, go ahead and contact us at salesassist@techextend.com. It should be up on your screen right now, and somebody will be sure to get back with you and do some follow-up. There was a question about if this webinar will be available for a replay, and we did record it, so it will eventually be on the TechExtend website, and you will be able to view a playback. From the TechExtend website, there will be a direct link to it from the news and events and the webinars page. But like I said, if anybody has any additional questions, go ahead and send an email to salesassist@techextend.com. We want to thank everybody for joining us on the webinar today, and if you do contact us, we will be able to set up a demo with your corporate data if that's what you would like to do to further this with Tibco. So thanks everybody for attending, and feel free to contact us at that email address. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Kevin, for that presentation. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.